Hey, what's up guys? Rev here. Today we're going to talk about the topic of gatekeeping. Now the problem with this is that people want to dismiss its proponents as elitist virgin weirdos without even trying to understand why gatekeeping is a necessary tool for any hobby or popular medium. Gatekeeping is like the break glass in case of emergency sort of tactic. Nobody wants to use it, but it's a necessary tool for protecting your community. Contrary to what many people like to think, gatekeeping isn't about pushing out new and genuine fans trying to enter a community. It's about weeding out unreasonable people who enter a medium and immediately expect it to cater to their wants and needs, despite knowing very little about it. It's a power trip. It's about control. These types of people enter an established fan base and expect it to conform to their views. Gatekeeping hopes to rid people like this. Now, I know on this channel we cover a lot of bad takes, but I take great pleasure in giving credit where credit is due. And today, I would like to tip my cap to Forbes. That's right. One of the authors over there recently made a great article about gatekeeping anime. And it's shocking, I know. And since we have the rare opportunity to see a journalist making a good take on this subject, I thought it'd be appropriate to spend the rest of this video running through it together. Okay, so overnight, our friend here, Ollie Barter, became some sort of a giga chat in the anime community. A lot of people praising this article. Fans aren't gatekeeping anything. They're just wary of would-be dictators trying to take over their hobby. Excellent title, because that's what it's all about. As I mentioned, it's not about keeping out new people who are genuinely interested in joining some sort of a community. It's about people on the outside trying to force their way in and change an established fan base for their own personal desires. And it always revolves around control. One of the strangest phenomena that keeps on popping up these days is the inaccurate accusation that fans are somehow gatekeeping their hobbies. Firstly, this is actually impossible to do, and secondly, there's a lot more going on than first appears. Which is funny because really any sort of a fan base these days is online. I mean, there is never a case where anybody will ever be able to actually gatekeep you from doing anything. You don't like what people are saying in the community online. If you're trying to watch a certain anime, you don't like what that community says, guess what? You don't have to listen to them. They are not going to pull the plug on your internet connection. You can still watch your anime in peace. Nobody's going to make it impossible for you to join anything. According to Merriam-Webster, a gatekeeper is either someone who tends or guards a gate or a person who controls access to something. The accusation in this instance obviously applies to the latter. Regardless, fans are incapable of controlling access to their hobbies, but before I get into that, here's a bit of a fandom history lesson. Picking up a specific example in the case of anime, back in the day many anime were not available outside of Japan. This meant if you wanted to watch something like The Vision of Escaflowne, I don't even know what that anime is. Maybe I should be gatekept at this point, who knows. You joined an anime club, attended its meetings, and acquired fan-subbed versions of the anime on VHS tapes. Now that, people accuse me of being a boomer, that is some golden boomer right there. I love it. This meant the people in charge of said anime club could actually gatekeep when it came to fans' access to anime. Exactly right. Back then, if you had physical copies controlling the narrative, someone controlling fan subs, controlling the tapes you have access to, they could literally gatekeep you. They could keep you from seeing what you want to see, the fandom you want to join. But nowadays, obviously, that's not a problem. In the decade since, anime such as that are now widely available on Blu-ray and also on various streaming services, not only in Japan, but also internationally as well. Put simply, if you are a current anime fan, then there is no one gatekeeping you from acquiring various anime works and enjoying them as a hobby. You don't need to befriend the higher-ups in the anime club. You can just buy it and watch it whenever and wherever you want. Which is so funny. This is the greatest statement because if you go on Twitter, there is a fan base, a very visible fan base for just about any anime out there. Anything with any sort of a size, right? And people will bend over backwards in cases to try to appeal to these higher-ups. And by higher-ups, we mean, an unemployed 30-year-old who spends his time arguing with teenagers on the internet on Twitter, right? And people will think that they need to befriend these people controlling what they believe are controlling the fan base in order to have acceptance. You don't need those people. Of course, part of being in a fan base is the social aspect, having someone to share it with, talk about it with. But the main thing is being able to access it. And you don't need to befriend people or feel like you need to suck up to people or be accepted by people in order to be a part of a fandom. That's never true. And okay, I said I'm trying to praise Forbes, right? This is why I'm really making sure we praise this article. This is the same kind of stuff they're normally yeeting out of their assholes, okay? This is why this article is so stunning and we need to celebrate it, okay? But anyways, the same goes for model kit building, video games, and pretty much any hobbies out there. Unless there is someone physically limiting access to host media, gatekeeping is not taking place. So why are certain people claiming that fans are gatekeeping their hobbies? Well, this is a bit more involved and is not so much about hobbies in question, but about controlling various fandoms. Going back to my previous anime example, when I originally got into anime all those decades ago, the size of the international fandom was relatively small. These days though, anime is a global pop culture phenomenon. That means that a lot of anime fans are out there, and the fandom itself is consequentially influential in an industrial and cultural sense. So the accusation of gatekeeping are being used to leverage access to effectively run each fandom and acquire power as a result, which is very well said. The whole process of gatekeeping, or what people perceive as gatekeeping nowadays, is all about power and control. People want to feel like they're controlling a fan base. Just like anything else in the world, power is the number one influencing these things. And I will say this, the irony is, the vast majority of people who are the loudest about gatekeeping, feeling like they're being oppressed and their voice is not being heard, there are people who aren't even in the medium itself. They're not even actually interested. The greatest proof of this is a lot of video games, right? Something will happen, people will be offended by something, right? They'll demand a change. You know, for lack of, it might be a little cringe to say, but someone wants a woke change, right? And it seems like it's the loudest thing people are asking for, right? And a company might bend the knee and make the change to appease to these people. But then they don't see any return on their investment because the people complaining about it never even played the game in the first place. And a lot happens with anime. A lot of people complaining about a certain anime or call for its censorship or changes to it. They're complaining about something they're not even consuming in the first place. It's the ultimate irony. This is why there's a great deal of pushback from fans on this, not because they want to stop people from watching anime or enjoying their hobbies, but they want to make sure these hobbies remain open to all and not descend into some kind of a dictatorship. That's right. The reality is that fans love having people they can talk to in depth about their hobby. This kind of involved and almost studied discussion of a hobby is actually what keeps various fandoms ticking along. This means it's not in the interest of fans to limit access to what they care about, and if people are genuinely curious about a hobby, then fans almost always tend to offer their help and insight. However, this is the best paragraph of the entire thing. However, when you see someone online or even in the real world accuse a fan of gatekeeping, it's more likely that said accuser is not interested in that hobby and is actually a power-hungry would-be dictator that wants to rule said fandom with an iron fist. Nothing else to say there. That is a beautiful summation of everything we're talking about. So, once again, my man Ollie Barter, great article, really appreciated it, and it definitely deserves all the praise it's been getting on Twitter in particular. And yeah, I really liked this discussion, and I hope you guys enjoyed. Let me know your thoughts about gatekeeping and gatekeeping anime specifically in the comments section down below. Subscribe for more daily videos, and yeah, I'll see you guys next time.